The quality is really not the best. The ministry has frozen the development of sporting facilities for the next 1 to 3 months for purposes of just doing two important things. One, we are conducting a special audit just to determine how these projects were conducted, the amount of money spent and whether there has been value for money, and why some of them stalled, like Camarine Stadium in Elgeyo Marakwet and Wote in Makueni, what exactly led to the stalling of those projects, and why some have been done at with substandard workmanship. We want to know, for instance, why a tartan track such as the one here at Kirubia, which was laid just about a year ago, is already peeling before any competition has taken place on this pitch, on this tartan track. So that special audit is going on, and it's being undertaken by the Auditor General and her team. We expect a report that will be able to tell us where government has previously gone wrong so that we don't walk that path again. That audit is part of the ministry preparing a master plan. We don't want to develop sporting and artistic facilities and infrastructure haphazardly. We want to do it in the context of a master plan that maps the country so that you understand, why is Kirubia here? Why do we put a stadium here in Kirubia and not in Isiolo? We must be able to explain it within the context of a master plan, a coherent, sensible master plan. But we also want to do facilities that meet international standards. We are very keen to host major regional and international tournaments. We want to see the Africa Cup of Nations come to Kenya, for instance. And when those games come here, in the spirit of devolution, we don't want to restrict them to Nairobi. We want you, for instance, to see Kenya play Morocco here at Kirubia Stadium as part of AFCON. But if that is going to happen, then we must upgrade these facilities to CAF and FIFA standards. So when FIFA comes to inspect Kirubia, they can say, yes, it is of a standard that can permit an international game to be played here. And so we are, as a ministry, we are asking the country to be patient, to allow us to complete the audit, to allow us to complete the master plan, and from then on, we are going to develop facilities in a very, very clear, coherent, sensible manner that meets international standards. But we are making an exception, a one-off exception in two cases. While that freeze is on, we have made two exceptions. Exception number one, we have made it in Embu, the neighboring county here. We have made an exception in Embu because Embu is scheduled to host this year's Madaraka Day celebrations. And because of that, the ministry has agreed to help the rehabilitation of Moi Stadium in Embu town and to also develop a new facility at Njukiri grounds in Embu so that we can have Madaraka Day celebrations, a national holiday celebrated in fitting circumstances. We have also made an exception for this particular stadium, Kirubia Stadium. And we make that exception again for two reasons. Reason number one is because this project is a project that is very dear to the heart of my boss. And for the second reason, that you are hosting the very important KISA Games, which you would want to be hosted again in fitting circumstances. We have also allowed an exception for this facility. We want the remaining works here to commence immediately. And so the contractor who was responsible for this project, we are asking you to get back to site immediately so that we can be able to progress and have this ground ready, number one, for the visit of His Excellency the President, and number two, for hosting the 8th edition of KISA Games from the 23rd of April this year.
Where we are, CS, we are only 7 kilometers away from Mount Kenya Forest. If we did not have these clouds here this morning, this afternoon, you would actually be seeing Lenana and Batiani Peak of Mount Kenya through these trees. If you come here in the morning, you are visible, meaning that you are in the heart of what we call the Mount Kenya, although we are not mafias. Our interest in that is that we are at a very high altitude, and this high altitude is what is usually very conducive for athletic training. We know we are not as high as Kigali, but this facility that you're coming to inspect today was put here with a purpose, because we wanted sportsmen to be grown from here, and we believe it's going to be a dream. This field, the CS, was conceived when you and I were sitting in parliament, katika ile harakati zetu, ukiombea watu wa Bundarangi, na mimi nilikuwa naombea watu wa Chuka ya Mang'ombe. That is how the current president, then the deputy president that time, when they had conceived the idea of the 7 mini stadiums in the whole of Kenya, which later became a very contentious issue. We pleaded with him and he agreed to give us this field. Initially, there was not a field. We had a tea buying center here, we had administration police, we had the chief's camp, and I want to thank those people, even though they are not here. I'm sure there are some of the representatives here, the people of Mugwa Ward, in this particular occasion, who have given up some of those facilities that they were really enjoying to give way to a field. I'm sure today when they look back, they are very happy that Kenya will be patching here, courtesy of their foresight of giving out the land that gave us this field today. The only sad story, which of course is going to end up well, CS, is that even though this field was conceived in 2016 and was built and completed by 2020, what you have seen here today is a lot of dilapidation and wastage, because when a facility is completed and then it is not put into use, it is just like a body that does not go through any exercise. It will waste away. We had that unfortunate circumstance during the transition when we were not allowed to use this field. And I am sure someone may tell you that if we use the field, it will be worse than this. But I want to tell you that a kitchen that has smoke does not leak.